Yo, what is up guys, it's Wodzu here and welcome to another episode of the Beat Grinding in Reaper series, a series of videos in which you'll learn not only how to make beats, but how to do it in Reaper. In this episode, we're continuing the 808 topic and we'll be talking about saturation, distortion and that kind of things around our 808s. So basically, you might not know, but a lot of 808s you like are already a little bit saturated. But this is not like a super hard overdrive that sounds like an electric guitar. This is just a little saturation that makes it a little bit more fuzzy, a little bit more warm, a little bit more just full.
Beat grinding in Reaper.
Here I have the 808 from samples we've made in the episode about 808s from samples. And this 808, which is not processed in any way, is already a little bit saturated. It's a little bit buzzing, but just a little bit. We were saturating the 808 though in the episode about tweaking your own 808s in Xfer Serum. You can watch it somewhere here. But in this particular video, I want to show you the plugins in Reaper that are great for distorting 808s. So we will look through all the distortions and saturators. So let's cut the talk, let's dive into Reaper and let's distort some things. So we'll concentrate on the sample-based 808. Let's make some space right here. So this track is soloed right now. And there is this 808. It's a little bit saturated, as I told you before. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to remove the Serum track, so it's not a distraction. That's the full drum part. So let's look for some basic distortion in Reaper. Distortion. Okay, so here we have distortion, distortion fuzz, and waveshaping distortion. Here is the first one, a regular distortion. Oh, it's really tough and fuzzy. So maybe let's reduce the hardness. It's really fuzzy. We can reduce the gain too. Sounds pretty nice. It's a really hard type of distortion. So okay, we just now put this plugin on the whole 808. But the thing is, it's better to saturate only higher frequencies or certain parts of the spectrum and leave the bass, the low end, alone without any processing, any plugin. My way of separating those two parts of the spectrum looks like that. The first step is to create two new tracks. The first one will be 808 low and the next one will be 808 high. So we will divide it into two parts. Let's connect it under the bass bus. And now we have this 808 right here. And what we're gonna do, we open Resamplomatic 5000. We go right here, which is the output section of Resamplomatic 5000. And here are the outputs. We hear the output number 1 and number 2. Now we're gonna add two more outputs, so 3 and 4. And we're gonna select that and unselect that. So this means we won't be hearing channel 1 and channel 2. And the only audio that is coming out is channel 3 and 4. And the result is we don't hear anything. That's because this track right here outputs only channel number 1 and channel number 2. So we can't hear channel number 3 and 4. The next step is to take the routing from this 808 track we have and connect it to the 808 low and to the 808 high. And that way we still don't hear anything because we have to set those two tracks up. Okay, so 808 low, we go right here and we focus on that part. Right now we are sieving audio from the track 1 and 2 to track 1 and 2 on this track, but we've already sent audio from the 808 track to tracks number 3 and number 4. So we select stereo source and tracks number 3 and 4. Of course, 808 is a mono thing, so you can use mono channels, so 1 channel per cent, but I'm just using stereo because those samples seem to be in stereo. And we are doing the same thing for the 808 high. So once again, we take the routing from the 808 track, we move it to the 808 high track, we drop it, and we have this menu where we select stereo source, channels 3 and 4. And now this track remains silent, and those 2 tracks contain the 808. So we have like 2 808 tracks playing the same thing. Next step is the equalizer. For the 808 low, we open plugins and we look for ReaEQ, which is right here, and we use this last high shelf filter and we move it to 500. So this dot is at 500. Thanks to this track sounds like that. So we can hear only the low end of the 808 below those 500 Hz. And we also load ReaEQ for the 808 high track, but this time we use the low shelf filter and we place it on 500 Hz, this dot right here. And this way we can hear only the middle and higher frequencies of the 808, but not the bass on this track. And together they sound like a full 808. I don't know if you could hear it, but there is some weird thing happening in this overall 808 sound, which is called comp filtering. Some frequencies are on top of each other, and the result is this weird sound. So here are our 2 filters placed next to each other. Here is 808 high, here is 808 low. The tracks are soloed, so we hear the 808 only. As you can probably hear, the sound of the 808 is muffled, like it's covered with something. So let's take the 808 high and let's move the filter to the right. Okay, and now it's back to normal, maybe a little bit to the left on the low. Okay, that's much better. Now, as we have those 2 parts of the spectrum separated, we can take care of the higher frequencies and saturate them in the way we like and leave the low end untouched. So let's go back to the high frequencies. Let's add the distortion we've just loaded before. Let's reduce the gain and the hardness so it's not fuzzy. Let's select stereo. And now we can fuzz and distort only the higher frequencies. That's good. So now a quick test, a quick comparison. Now I'm gonna play the 808 distorted as a whole without dividing 2 parts of the spectrum, and then I'm gonna play you an 808 with the same distortion parameters copied to this 808 high track with only the higher part of the spectrum. So as you could hear, as we are distorting whole 808, it's get really fuzzy and really distorted. And as we are distorting only the higher part of an 808, it's like a gentle fuzz, gentle distortion that we like. Or at least most of people does, because for example in trap metal you can hear the most distorted 808s in the world. Okay, back to the topic. Now we're gonna test out a few more distortions which are already in Reaper. So let's move to the Fuzz Distortion. Let's hear how it sounds like. Yeah, that's definitely a fuzz kind of a distortion. What do we have here? Shape, head limit, wet mix and dry mix. Ooh. You know, I just came up with an idea. You could add even third part of the spectrum, so you have 808 low, 808 middle and 808 high, and use this one on the top part, use the normal distortion on the middle part and leave the low part untouched. This would be the most beautifully distorted 808 in Reaper you could imagine, probably. Let's play with the dry mix. Oh, hard limit makes that fatness. That sounds great. I know this is a pretty extreme thing for a lot of you, but you don't have to do extreme distortions, as I told you before. So as you can hear, this Fuzz Distortion in Reaper can bring up even some middle frequencies to live. Let's test out the Waveshaping Distortion. This is one of my favorites too. It's really supple, but you can drive it and crank it like crazy. But just before that, it just adds this gentle buzz to the 808. It's really simple, it's just one fader. The last thing from the Reaper's plugins we're gonna try out today is the saturation. The interface is the same as in the Waveshaping Distortion. You probably can't hear it well because at 100% it's just saturating the 808 a little bit. I assume this is the same algorithm as in the Waveshaping Distortion, but in the Waveshaping Distortion you can go beyond that 100 and crank this thing up like crazy. So this would be the way to go for people who don't like to crank things up and who like a subtle saturation. So this is the JS plugin saturation. As you can see, Reaper has a pretty big arsenal of plugins that can distort sound even in an extreme way or in a subtle way. It depends on what you are aiming for.
Question time!
The question for today is, what kind of distortion are you using and in what way in your beats, in your songs? Leave the comments in the comment section down below, and also you can share some songs, your favorite songs with distorted 808s which play a huge role in the overall sound of the song. And shout out to Kasonso Osborne from the 808 Glide on Samples video, who showed me Dior by Pop Smoke that carried the track. Man, this is what I was thinking about. I haven't been listening to Pop Smoke before, and I listened to Dior and I listened to For the Woo and For the Woo Volume 2, and this is it, man. I really enjoyed that kind of stuff. I definitely have to dig more into Pop Smoke's sound and maybe make some videos about drill beats. What do you think? Okay, enough. In the next episode we are leaving the 808 topic and we start talking about melodies. So stay tuned for the next episode. I'm gonna be showing you scales in Reaper, how to get more scales in Reaper because we only have the basic ones, and how to just use these functions and make great melodies. My name is Dominic, you've been watching Wodzu Beats, and keep the good vibes alive.
Wodzu Beats production.